It's actually happening, as a new report from an NHL insider has revealed that a major move is imminent for the New York Rangers. And what that move is will have Rangers fans absolutely fired up and will change the look and feel of this team heading into next season. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 74% of you now, because there's been an influx of new viewers here on the channel, welcome in everyone, are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's been happening with the New York Rangers, and it's going to be a very, very busy offseason this year, and obviously there is a coach to be hired. We'll touch on that in this video and much more in this video as well as it pertains to other Rangers updates. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It is free at the end of the day, and you get to stay up to date with everything Rangers. So let's dive right into it. Elliotte Friedman, NHL insider, has revealed that the Rangers have essentially found their coach, and they are going to be making a coaching hiring this week. It's going to come. It's going to be imminent. It is happening very soon. And who that guy is, it's exactly who we all suspected this whole time and who we've been talking about this entire time to this point. And this is a direct quote from Elliotte Friedman on 32 Thoughts. And not just 32 Thoughts, we're going to get to some other comments he made yesterday on another show as well. I just don't see any way the Rangers can allow themselves to be beaten to Mike Sullivan unless for some reason he doesn't want to go there. I will be shocked if he isn't their guy. So from Elliotte Friedman, and again, a lot of people don't like to believe what Elliotte Friedman says. When I believe that when Elliotte Friedman speaks, when he puts something out there, where there is smoke, there is fire. I believe that when he's ready to release something, it's because he's 100% certain that it will probably happen. Now, I know, 100% certain that something will probably happen. I'm sure that he's heard that this is happening. There's mutual interest, and it's probably going to happen. So it's looking like Mike Sullivan will be the guy for the New York Rangers. And by all accounts, from other reports and other insiders, it sounds like it could be happening very soon. But there's some new developments that could be very interesting. We'll touch on those now as it pertains to, who else could be the Rangers coach, I should say, right? And if you're looking around the league, I touched on something yesterday about John Cooper. We don't know if he's going to be fired. I mean, if I was the Tampa Bay Lightning, I wouldn't fire John Cooper at this point. The roster isn't good enough, right? So I wouldn't do that. So what if John Cooper becomes available? What if another coach becomes available, like Rick Tocchet, who's not re-signing in Vancouver, which was announced yesterday as well? And he went on to say that I have no doubt, this is Elliotte Friedman, of course, that Sullivan's reps are fielding calls, but I don't see Vancouver being Sullivan's destination. I just don't see how James Dolan allows Sullivan to go anywhere else. So it sounds like James Dolan is going to allow Chris Drury to back up the Brinks truck to Mike Sullivan's house and say, come on in, we'll give you a very lucrative contract, a lengthy contract, come in, work with some of our star players, work with some of our younger players, get this team back into the playoffs next year, and let's try and win a Stanley Cup. With this roster, I'm not so sure, but I do think Chris Drury is going to change things heading into next season. I think he has a vision for the team. Will it work? We don't know yet. We're going to find out next year, and I still have faith, because we should all have faith that the Rangers will have a bounce-back season next year, but we'll see. And I think the reason we should is because they're going to move out anybody who doesn't want to be here or play under this structure, to be honest. So it's going to be a very eventful offseason. So it's not looking like Sullivan wants to go to Vancouver. I don't think he wants to go to Philly. There's reports that, again, touching on this, like he can't imagine, Elliotte Friedman says that, he will not go to the New York Rangers. It's sounding like he's going to go to the New York Rangers. And there's reports that, Mike Sullivan and Kyle Dubas in Pittsburgh did not agree on the timeline of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So why would a guy like Mike Sullivan not agree with the timeline of the Pittsburgh Penguins with a guy like Sidney Crosby there, but want to go to the Philadelphia Flyers or the Chicago Blackhawks, right? That makes no sense to me. So if that's exactly the reason he left, if that is true, it changes everything. It changes everything, because that means he's going to go to the New York Rangers. That means he will become the Rangers head coach, because he wants to coach a team that at least has a chance. I don't think Pittsburgh is going to see the playoffs for a while. I do think with some good, with trying to build up a culture and getting rid of some other guys that don't want to be here in the New York Rangers, they have an opportunity next year to have a bounce back season and make the playoffs. I can't say the same for the Blackhawks, the Flyers, or even the Penguins at this point. So I do think that it's enticing. And even the Boston Bruins, I mean, they stripped down almost their entire roster. I don't think that's as enticing. The only two teams I think Sullivan would be interested in coaching from a strictly hockey perspective is the Rangers and the Canucks. And I feel like the Canucks, there's a lot going on there. So I think it's the Rangers, and I think Mike Sullivan is going to be the guy. That's just my 2 cents. And as you can see here, Tocchet is not going to re-sign. So again, I think it's between the Canucks and the Rangers for Sullivan. He's probably mulling over his options right now, but by all accounts from Elliot Friedman, other insiders as well, and what everyone's hearing, Mike Sullivan in due time will be the next head coach of the New York Rangers. So we can almost start to put everything else to bed at this point. But some other updates in terms of what's happening with the Rangers right now and some of their players. Mika Zibanejad has announced that he will play for Sweden at the World Championships this summer. The tournament is in Stockholm, so gets to play in front of his home country, of course, for his home country, which is pretty cool. So, great for Mika Zibanejad to be able to play in the World Championships, and hopefully he does pretty well there. And some other Rangers as well. Brett Berard will play for Team USA, and Will Cooley will be playing for Team Canada in the World Championships as well. So really cool stuff there for both Rangers to get that experience and play with some really good players in that tournament as well. And one thing I thought was very interesting that I saw recently is that JT Miller is trying to qualify for this year's US Open, which I didn't have. I mean, apparently he's a fantastic golfer. So he's qualifying for the US Open. I thought that was absolutely insane. Good for him. I hope he does make it. I hope he does qualify. But that's what JT Miller is doing with his early summer so far this year. But I have no doubt in my mind he's going to come back next year with a letter on his chest, and he's going to be ready to rock and try to get this team to the playoffs in what's going to be a very eventful season. And one other thing I wanted to touch on is, what do the New York Rangers do with Keandre Miller? And a lot of fans were saying, re-sign him. This is the general consensus. We touched on a survey in a previous video a couple of days ago. General consensus from the fan base is keep him, but sign him to a shorter term deal, a more of a prove-it deal instead of a long-term lucrative contract, which he asked for at the start of the year but hasn't earned. And this is from NYR Louis, and you can see from Money Puck, I mean, Miller and Fox were very good in terms of expected goals when they did play together. Obviously, Peter Laviolette hates to see people prosper apparently and didn't want to play them together, so ended up splitting them up for multiple times this season when they were put together. But anyway, I mean, sign him and put him together with the most impactful pair in hockey, or let him go and don't have the most impactful pair in hockey. Really tricky question here. So I think that ultimately they probably will re-sign him, but it's going to be on a prove-it deal, and if he doesn't want to sign that, then he won't be a New York Ranger. So we'll see how that plays out in the early in the early summer here, coming up here once the season wraps up. But one other thing to note, that the New York Rangers are actually in the draft lottery. They do have a chance at the first overall pick. It is a 3% chance, so keep that in mind. And the draft lottery will be held on Monday, May 5th. So this Monday coming up here next week. So keep an eye out for that, because they can technically, jump up here. It is a 3% chance, but anything can happen. We've seen crazier things in the NHL. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about, obviously, everything that we discussed today. Mike Sullivan looks like he's going to be the new head coach of the New York Rangers. Let me know how you feel about that. I know a lot of people wanted Quenneville or maybe some other coaches. I think Sullivan's probably the right guy for the job at this time with where the Rangers are at and where he is at in his career as well. Let me know what you think about JT Miller trying to qualify for the US Open. I thought that was cool. And obviously a couple guys are going to get some more experience at the World Championship. So that should be fun to follow. So let me know what you would do with Keandre Miller as well. But if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.